Our guest tonight is commentator extraordinaire Mauro Ranallo. How you doing?
Well, I appreciate the first word, commentator extraordinaire. I guess I owe you a few dollars. I hope you guys accept PayPal. Is that okay?
Yeah. The check I assume is in the mail because that's how
Well,
this
I don't know.
works.
Do we send checks in the mail anymore? Like I got PayPal. I can maybe do Western Union if you're desperate.
Yeah, Western Union works for us. Believe me, it
Wire
works.
it.
Yeah, wire it. Yes, wire it.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, pleasure to be talking with you guys, and look forward to those hard hitting. Well, actually, if you want to throw me a few softballs, it's always good too. It's
Soft
been a long
hitting.
day,
We
you know.
we definitely do the soft hitting stuff. We'll start there. It was announced recently that you would be the host of Inside MMA on Access TV, starting on Friday, March 25th. What can combat sports fans expect from the show, and how excited are you to start this new venture?
Well, the combat sports fans, of course, can expect more of what Inside MMA has built its legacy on over the last 9 years as the longest running independent MMA show of its kind. We have an amazing staff and of course, reporter Ron Kruk, and even the man who I am taking over for. I don't want to say replacing in any sense of the word because Kenny Rice is an institution in broadcasting, an award-winning journalist, and I'm glad that he will still be involved as a special correspondent. But for Boss and I, it's reuniting on TV after we forged our broadcast and friendship, broadcast relationship and our friendship back during the halcyon days of Pride Fighting Championships. And earlier this year, we launched the Rutan and Ronaldo podcast, and it's been well received. So I expect Inside MMA to be full of our unique energy and our quirky personalities, but it's going to be walking that line of entertainment and hard hitting journalism that Inside MMA is known for.
Mike Chiari?
Well, you've been part of a lot of different mediums, including wrestling, MMA, boxing, and obviously wrestling's a little bit different from the others because of the predetermined nature. But what are some of the biggest differences and similarities between calling wrestling and calling the other combat sports for you as an announcer?
It's amazing. I do get this question often, and to be honest, it's not. They're not big differences. Yeah, you mentioned the fact that sports entertainment, okay, may have predetermined outcomes, but it's competition. It's real as it gets in terms of what they are doing inside the ring, and what my job is into to calling the moves and the skill set and the stories, and really when it comes to MMA or boxing or kickboxing, it's all about telling the stories and painting the word picture. Yes, it's a visual medium, and yes, maybe we can all do a better job of laying out and less is more, as they say. But at the same time, I think there's also an appetite for people to want to get more invested in. And my job is to give you a bio, give you convey the drama, convey what you're seeing, and then hopefully enlighten the viewer as well in terms of the broadcasting. And with WWE, being a lifelong fan, it really does encompass everything I've grown up loving: pop culture, sports, drama, movies. It's something that if it didn't exist, it would have to be created, and it's one of the reasons that it has remained a staple on television since the real, the start of the medium. And so for me, the biggest differences really are just, yeah, there's a certain cadence or tone maybe that working with different people or working with different genres. I mean, boxing is 12 3-minute rounds for a championship fight, whereas MMA, it's a 5 5-minute rounds for a championship fight. Kickboxing, 5 3-minute rounds. So, I mean, you make your adjustments in terms of information, and yet the storytelling is the same. You know the skill set. And for me, being an information junkie and a prep freak, I just am so curious on everyone involved. I think the most unique personalities I've come across are those I've come across in combat sports, and everyone has a story to tell. So I'm just blessed that I get to do it in so many different arenas, but I'm really excited to be reunited with Boss Woon and covering Inside MMA beginning March 25th on Access TV.
Brandon Galvin?
You just spoke on calling the sports, but what is the preparation process like heading into a WWE event or match compared to a boxing fight or MMA fight?
Well, with the WWE, because, the nature of the beast is what it is. You want to get maybe some storyline tips or where they see the story headed. But in terms of finishes or anything like that, I don't like to know. I want to be a surprise as a viewer. So in that sense, preparation is similar. I probably watch a lot more tape in boxing and MMA, knowing that, in WWE, the skill set is there. And, the matches are every week. They're putting on different matches. But I will go and watch big pay-per-view matches or matches that are connected to the current storyline, or that, you might want to bring forward a certain thing that happened. So in that way, it's a little different. But I'm a guy, again, who eats, lives, and breathes all of this stuff, and have to, if I'm going to be, good enough to maintain the stranglehold on all of these positions that I've achieved. But I really love what I do, and I watch a lot of tape. I watch almost anything I can get my hands on in terms of the sports that I'm involved in. But at the same time, I'm learning to also find a balance, and I'm a big, Netflix fan, and I watch a lot of TV and documentaries, and I do a lot of reading, and I try to exercise every day and meditate. So I have a full plate, but I'm well prepared, because I've been doing this for 30 years now, that to me it's almost second nature, and I just want to continue honing my craft and bringing people the information they want and need.
Well, as we mentioned, you're now the play-by-play announcer for SmackDown. What was the process of signing with WWE like for you, and what did it mean when you finally signed?
It was remarkably easy, and surprisingly so. I was contacted by Michael Cole, who's the voice of WWE and looks after the on-air talent. He's, of course, the voice of Monday Night Raw, and he wanted to gauge my interest in possibly working with WWE, and I was blown away, because as anyone who knows me well knows, that's always been a lifelong dream. Yes, I've called all sports. I was a radio DJ, club DJ, talk show host, done VO work, hockey, basketball, football, you name it. But and of course combat sports, of which I love dearly. But WWE always in the back of my mind was the dream job. And of course, not most people don't get their dream jobs. For some reason, I've been spoiled and gotten a few of mine. But at the same time, the negotiations went very smoothly in talking with Triple H, and the fact that they wanted me to be me and not be something that they wanted to create. As you know, they have a style of broadcasting in WWE over the last few years, and that's their prerogative. And for me, though, they wanted me to be a hybrid of like a Michael Cole, maybe in the Jim Ross, where I'm able to call the match in the style that I call all my combat sports, and use the innate passion that I bring and energy. I'm what you see is what I am, and whether it's, I've got a lot of critics as well, and that's fine. I think it's better to be polarizing than to be vanilla, but I also think that people cannot question the passion and the sincerity of what I bring, because I literally am the luckiest guy in the world in many instances, when I have the best seat in the house calling the greatest athletes or greatest performers. And so for me, it's just been a blessing, and I can't wait to continue to grow, both as a play-by-play announcer, but also as the new host of Inside MMA.
Mike Chiari?
Your arrival in WWE coincided with Jerry the King Lawler going back to the heel persona that so many people enjoyed during the Attitude Era. So firstly, were you aware that dynamic was in the works when you signed with WWE? And also, how has the dichotomy between you and King benefited you so far as an announcer?
Oh, absolutely a blessing and a pleasure to be working with Jerry the King Lawler, and I think it was the perfect timing for him to tweak his role. And I know that the King, wanted to do it, and then Vince McMahon, who of course rubber stamps everything, was a fan of his work in that role. And you're right, I think they wanted me to try to maintain my standing in combat sports. Yes, there was always a long-standing stigma between sports entertainment and combat sports. Well, that's fake stuff. Oh, you could be. I got to tell you, man. WWE, the whole rosters, or majority of the roster, is a big-time combat sports fan, and vice versa. MMA and boxing will always get asked about WWE. So there's a huge crossover, and I think for me as well, the timing has never been better. But for Jerry Lawler, yeah, he went to Vince and said, obviously Mauro's the new guy. He, want opinions or from him. He's got to be the straight guy. Byron Saxton obviously is, just he's that guy, the good guy, the nice guy. And Jerry Lawler said, why not? And the dynamic so far, judging by the feedback, is one that people have loved. And again, I got to credit Michael Cole and his crew for what they've allowed us to do, where I'm concentrating on the match and the wrestling action in the ring, and Lawler's telling his story from one perspective, Byron's telling the story from another perspective. And I think everyone who's a sports entertainment fan gets what they want. And that's what I strive with my team to bring them, and it's a totally different dynamic than Monday night. And I know a lot of people are quick to criticize the Monday night show, as it were, in terms of the presentation, not realizing the amount of work that goes into being a 3-hour live telecast in which Michael Cole not only has to do play-by-play duties, but it has to be a traffic cop. I mean, the amount of features and promotional material that they have to deal with, and that's a good thing because it shows the success of the company. It's not easy, and I wonder myself if I put in that position where I'm supposed to do everything else that they want me to do while still maintaining the call of the match. I don't know how successful I'd be at that right now. So they have built me up to succeed. They brought me in to succeed. I've been warned prior by so many people who maybe had less than pleasant stays there, but all I can say is WWE and its entire machinery has been nothing but a joy to work with. And I'm not just saying that because I'm paid to or I'm a member of the company. I've criticized WWE in the past as well, and I'm still a big fan of the product. And there's certain things, we all want to see change, but at the end of the day, we're playing in someone's sandbox, and there's a reason there's 84,000 tickets now sold, a record for WrestleMania, and a fact that, this genre of entertainment has lasted as long as it has. Vince McMahon is a billionaire for a reason. So it's been an amazing ride, and hard to believe that it's just begun. It's really a dream come true.
Brandon Gottman?
You've had the opportunity to call some very exciting WWE matches and MMA fights. Is there a wrestler or fighter you've enjoyed calling the most so far? And is there a matchup you would like to call in the future?
I think it's unfair when I get asked those questions for the simple fact that, I respect everybody. And you're right, everyone has favorites. I understand that. But in my role, I do really respect everyone, from the people who open the show in a dark match to those who are in the main attraction. But obviously, having called AJ Styles matches in New Japan, loved calling his work in WWE with Chris Jericho and The Miz, and for him to become successful so quickly, and not surprised at all. But I'm just so happy for a guy like Styles, who has been around the industry for so long and gets a chance now to be on the grandest stage of them all. And Chris Jericho, a veteran who, just talking to him for 5 minutes, you learn something new. And all of them, I approach this as being a fan of the product first and foremost. I know what my job entails, but for me, it's all about them. The fact that I'm even getting all of these interviews and all of these accolades, it's kind of embarrassing. And it's not about me. I'm a small part of the machinery, but I'm spoiled by the talent in front of me, whether it's in WWE or, calling Floyd Mayweather on pay-per-view or calling Fedor Emelianenko and Mirko Cro Cop in Pride, and all of the action and Strikeforce. I just have been very blessed. No more needs to be said. It's crazy.
Well, final round of questions here. There's been speculation and rumors about your role at WrestleMania 32. Can you shed some light on what your role will be? And is calling WrestleMania your ultimate goal with WWE?
100%, that would be my ultimate goal, and to address the rumors. I know my colleague Jerry Lawler has said that there has been talk about a split announce crew, and I can understand why. It's a 7-hour show. I know Michael and I, when we are traveling together, Michael Cole and I, we talk about that, and I know Michael Cole wants that for me, whether it's this year or in the future, and really that's the truth. I think he's been my biggest supporter and mentor, and I think a lot of people sometimes maybe are confused by our relationship. I wouldn't be in WWE without Michael Cole. And so I don't know. I will be there with my two brothers. I'm looking forward to my first WrestleMania. I've let them know that I'm willing to do whatever they want in whatever capacity. But at the same time, obviously respecting the pecking order. And they're, Michael Cole, JBL, and Byron Saxton are the main team calling the pay-per-views, and I'm fully supportive of all three of them. But you bet, if they ask, I'm ready, willing, and able to call, whether it's the kickoff match or whether it's, any other match on the card. I will be ready to go, and I look forward to having my own, selfish WrestleMania moment, as it were.
Mike Chiari?
Having been a wrestling fan for as long as you have, in terms of both commentators and wrestlers, who are some of your biggest inspirations, and what drew you to them, either as you were growing up or even as you were first coming up in the business?
I've always liked people who had energy, who had passion. You could hear the passion in their voice, the joy that they felt just being there and calling it. I grew up in Vancouver, British Columbia, as a big fan of Hall of Fame broadcaster Jim Robson of the Vancouver Canucks and Hockey Night in Canada, and I really obviously loved the work of Gordon Soley, who through tapes I was able to hear him, and Jim Ross, of course, has been a big influence and a friend, and I'm glad to call him a friend. But I also really enjoyed what Joey Styles did with ECW, and you know what? I have a lot of respect for what Michael Cole does in his own unique situation where he's not a straight play-by-play guy, because that's not the nature of his job on Monday night. He's got to be a traffic cop as much as anything. And so I have respect for so many different announcers. And in terms of performers, like I say, I mean, man, obviously a huge fan of Ric Flair and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat series of matches in the 80s. I had the blessing to call the terrific matches between Hiroshi Tanahashi, Kazuchika Okada, and Shinsuke Nakamura in Japan. Bret Hart, Owen Hart at WrestleMania 10, Bret Hart, Davey Boy Smith at SummerSlam 92, Randy Savage, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, WrestleMania 3. I mean, there's so many. There have been so many. So I'm blessed to be, I can say that I had a really strange moment, two different moments this past week. On Monday, The Undertaker was in the building, of course, for his appearance. And, I don't know what even to say to the guy. Hi, Mr. Undertaker. Hi, Undertaker. What do you say? And he actually saw me one day and goes, hey, we got to talk about fights. And he's wearing a Roots of Fight Sugar Ray Robinson shirt. I'm like, wow, there was that instant bond. And the fact that he knew who I was already kind of made me feel at ease. And that I get that a lot. Dean Ambrose talking to me about being a huge fan of Nick Diaz and Strikeforce. And even AJ Styles, the fact that we came at almost the same time. So, I have to keep it professional, obviously, but you can't help but respect all of these guys. And I even had Ric Flair buy me a drink at the bar Monday night at the TV hotel. And I mean, life can end right then and there. That's bucket list stuff. You can share a drink with the legendary Nature Boy, Ric Flair. All that's left is woo!
Woo!
Down, baby.
Brandon Galvin, final question?
Well, you become one of our favorite announcers because you provide a big fight feel to the matches. Has there been any discussion about you calling WWE pay-per-views in the future?
Not at this point, and I thank you for that, by the way, and I appreciate the fact that a lot of people have said that. And it's not even about a big fight feel. To me, it's again, giving respect to each one of these competitors. And I sometimes wonder, I know you have to pick your spots, and it can't be always one gear. And I've learned over the years to hopefully tone it down a little bit. I know for some I'll always be too over the top, but that's just who I am, and I'd rather be that way than monotone or less than scintillating in my delivery and presentation. But I would love to build a future with WWE, but at the same time, I was hired to be the voice of SmackDown. Michael Cole, who is the voice of WWE and the guy who looks the on-air talent, has told me that they do have big plans for me, and they've invested in me, and I've committed to them, and I appreciate everything that my other employers, Showtime and Glory Kickboxing, and now even Inside MMA, have done in order to facilitate a relationship with WWE. And I even sometimes kind of miscalculate just how big a global force and cultural force WWE truly is, and the fact that I now get messages from all over the world is mind blowing. So I'm really in a place, obviously, that I never thought I would be in, but I do appreciate all the support from everyone, and I also thank those who have helped me along the way. And of course, I like to give back and mentor as many people as I can. And one last thing before I go, guys, is something I've really tried to convey in these interviews is I wouldn't be where I am today without getting the proper help and support service that I've had dealing with mental health issues throughout my adult life. And I continue to watch and read and discuss in disbelief at how many people we continue to lose due to mental health issues through suicide because of the lack of resources, the lack of information, and just the stigma that still surrounds mental health. I've proven that I can be a fully functional human being who actually probably does more than the average person and at a high level. And I think that because you have a mental illness does not mean that you cannot reach your goals and your dreams with help and support. And so I just, again, plead to anyone listening who is either in a situation where they're dealing with a mental health issue or knows someone, and 1 in 4 Americans do suffer from mental health episodes. to please, reach out, talk therapy, meditation, daily exercise, healthy eating, and we have to let our government officials and even the medical community know that they are failing us miserably when it comes to a very, very serious disease in our society.
Well, those are great points. A huge thank you to Mauro Ranallo. Catch him hosting Inside MMA on Access TV starting Friday, March 25th. Tell the fans where else they can support you.
Well, you can be a part, again, of Retweet City if you like, at Mauro Ranallo. At Mauro Ranallo on Instagram. I have a Facebook account, but I'm trying to be like the hip kids, even though I'm in my 40s, so I'm kind of not on Facebook. I'm trying to stay hip with IG and a little Twitter, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's the best way to reach out. And I'm unveiling a new website coming out soon, which I think it's coming out this weekend, if I'm not mistaken. But it's Mauro Ranallo, MauroRanallo, and you could just I don't know, whatever, visit and stop by, see what I'm up to, and also maybe help me spread the word about issues like mental health awareness, because it's something that, even more important than my career as a broadcaster, it's something that I really want to help, change in our society, because the time is now. It's enough. There's a lot of people who are dying unnecessarily, so let's get out there and beat the drums, guys.
A great point. Another huge thanks to Mauro Ranallo. Good luck moving forward, sir.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.